look at this massive seed head on this wild rice plant here. Wow. Just look at that. This is a fertile spot. I threw some seed in here just to see. I was hoping it would grow. And we got some that's really tall. That's pretty good too. Starting to loosen up. We got more over here in this trench. So last week I don't think any of these had seeds on them. Now they got seeds big time. This one made it. It didn't get predated on. It's out here where there's no cage. A couple of them. Nice. I wonder why these two are bending over so far. Look at that. You kind of, they're together. They got these little, I don't know what you call them, barbells on their sheaths, and they're connecting to one another. That's interesting. So this is the wild and crazy stuff. There's a whole bunch growing together here. This is in a cage that sat all winter. So it has screening on it. Another idea I had is maybe the water beetles might eat the seed as it drops. So in there it dropped and the water beetles couldn't get in because it's mosquito screen. And these new ones have hardware cloth. So we're going to be able to find out just how that works out. Some nice seed heads on here, boy, let me tell you. Very, very nice. Very nice, very big. Prolific. See, this one here is still blossoming. It's so variable. I think that's part of its strategy of survival, and is it doesn't all happen at once. So if something does come along, it starts eating on it, it's not all ready to be ate. And whatever that predator is, moves along. And then the one that's a little slower, or the one that was a little faster, does its thing. Finishes it off. It's been a struggle to figure all this stuff out. But it sure feels good when some of it works out. We're going to be cutting Phragmites today and tomorrow, so all that's going to be gone. Not gone totally, but it's going to be slowed way down. What I've been finding out is if I cut it the end of July, early August, I read it on one of the DNR sites, that you cut it then, if you cut it year after year, it'll finally go away. Well, I haven't seen it going away. This is like, I think, my third year to cut it at that time. But it's definitely not spreading like it was. So it kind of just slows it, puts it in check. So far, anyways, we'll see. Year after year might mean 10 years, I don't know. Here's the wild rice checking the tiny little pool. Guess we can call it a pond because it's supposed to be a vernal pool, but it never dries out. So little tiny little rices. Look at that, just little tiny things. There might be 100 of them in this little corner right here. So last year those were all getting ate down to nothing. So this year they're growing. More in here. Don't fall on my butt. I watch the camera instead of my feet. So this whole line of them last year got ate up by something. We shot big old mama deer last fall, so she might have been the one. And her daughter that's still hanging around, and her daughter from the year before as well, who's had a daughter. they obviously don't like rice as much. Unless there's a duck or something else getting in here doing it. Because it doesn't look like anything in here has got eaten on. So this has been part of the pond here that's grew some real nice wild rice. And I'm not saying it's nice this year, it's not. It's just doing what it has to. It's not a flamboyant. Now of course the years that I had really good rice, I was putting compost in here. So this year I didn't do it. Interesting that I remembered that. That's good. Good to remember that. Got lots of frogs. And here's our pond lily in here. We had quite a few of them in here last time. Now there's only one. I think there's 3 here last week when I was here. I got some wild rice that I planted in here as seed last year in this basically just a clay bowl without any fertility. It looks like this one wants to start making some right there. None of the rest of them are though, just that one. Let's give it some time. I'll be tickled pink if it makes a little bit of seed and reseeds itself. There's a nice frame. Wild rice and wild rice wrapped and tied. Here's another one right here. That is horseradish. I was going to plant it and never did. Didn't have time the day that I was here to do it, so I just put it there in the water, and it's grown marvelously. I'll transplant it in the fall when it's cooler. We'll have a walk along Black Walnut Lane. You can see there's one right above the goldenrod line there. There's another, there's a small one. There are some bigger ones. The oldest ones would have been planted the fall of 2013. They're coming up. I've been planting some every year, except for this year I gave the seedlings that popped up in my backyard to a friend. There's a little one right there. And if I had to guess, I'd say half of them survived the transplant. Most all of them lived the first year, and then slowly, deer chomp on them and all sorts of other things happen. Some go away. So this is the biggest one right here. Come down here, get an idea, that's how thick it got right there. But they really shoot up after, I think, about 8 years or 10 years, and they really grow fast. I got a couple in my backyard that are about 20 years old, and they're monsters compared to other trees. There's little smaller ones up here and later plant things. There. I've got other black walnuts scattered around, but this is the only place where I planted it in a lane. It's not a line, it's part of a circle swale. So it's on the mound of a circle swale. I just did some serious cutting. So we wanted to reduce the goldenrod and the canary grass, but more importantly we wanted to take down the Phragmites. Still got a long way to go yet, but this is what we got done. You can see all the grass laying down. I just was starting, I thought, well, I'll warm the machine up a little bit and get a little practice in, but I kept going. Gotta be careful not to pull them out by your hand too much, because some of them are sharp. They'll cut your hand when you try to pull them out. So we're going to get back in there tomorrow a little ways. There's a couple of patches that are in the woods. I'm not as concerned in the woods because the trees will eventually eat them. But there's a couple patches that I like to hit every year. 2 of them to be precise. You see that's all down. There were some small ones growing on this bank, so I took those out. And this is where it's spreading that I really don't want it to be. So I worked this really good. I got some really fast growing willows. I think I'm going to stick those in here, and 3-4 years from now the willows will take over. It's all cut. Good.